Hello, 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 and welcome to Lunchtime with Dr. Nadine and our special guest for today. But before I introduce her, just let us know in the chat where are you joining us from. We're excited that you are choosing to have lunch with us. And so just let us know where are you joining us from as I introduce to you our special guest, Harriet, who's the creator of the Liberated Married Woman's Framework. I know for sure her message is powerful, and I know that so many women need it because in Harriet's framework, what she does is help women between the ages of 25 to 70 break free from the stigma of how they're supposed to behave in marriage as prescribed by traditions, husbands, churches, cultures, societies, so that they can be fully liberated to be themselves. And so, it's a powerful message. She's on that journey. She's beginning that journey of being able to liberate Christian women. And so, Harriet, I have read your bio, but I would love for you to give the viewers, the listeners, a little bit about your background.
Hi, good evening from Africa here. I know it's noon there, you having lunch, but we are, yeah, it's in the evening. It's about 6 and it's dark. Yeah. My name is Harriet. I'm a mother of 3 adult girls. I call them adult because they are more or less out of home. Um, just have one in university. And I'm married for this year, I think 35 years. 35 years. Um, a daughter of late, all my parents are late, and we were like 11 in our family. We are remaining now 7, I think. Can you imagine? I'm missing it out. But it's more girls than boys. So it's 6 girls, 1 boy left. Um, yeah, I'm ex-nurse, midwife, but I will still work in hospital on administration side. So I'm in contact with women of all ages all the time. Um, yes, that's how I can introduce myself.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for your introduction and your background. But I'm sure we don't like women starting an introduction with, I am a mother of four and a wife. We go
Yes.
much deeper than that. We did that in Runway to Saw, Module 1, because Harriet is so much more than the roles that she plays. But Harriet, we're happy to have you here, and we know that you have a powerful message. So, what I would love for you to do is to tell us what brought you into the speaker mentorship program, because I remember, I believe we met quite a few years ago when I was in South Africa. And so talk to us about, we met and then what brought you into the speaker program.
Okay. Yes, we met at a retreat. First time, I think that was 2019. If it's not 2018, I can't remember. But it was in November,
Mhm,
and it was a retreat. We had a weekend with you.
mhm.
And I took along my eldest daughter with with me, and she was really also motivated because that's where we learned that we're not just what the world looks at us as, but we are different because we are who we are because God made us what we should be. And that's when I took your number. I remember because I bought your wow books. There were 3, that was a set of 3.
Mhm.
And when I bought those powerful books about prayer, and in one of the introductory pages, you spoke about your grandmom,
Mhm.
who was a prayer warrior.
Mhm.
And I had just, a few years back, I had just joined the prayer band. That's where I learned how to pray over my family, pray over my children, pray for my friends, and pray for even the patients that we have in the hospital, because I'm still working in the hospital. And in the process, that's when I didn't know that I had that talent, but women would just come to me and say, "Mom," or they would call me Mom or Auntie Harriet if they are young ones. Auntie Harriet, I have this problem. How can I tackle that? How can I? And usually it's married women,
Mm-hmm.
um, and usually they are women from um, who are in the country, because I am coming from Malawi, but I live in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So these would be Malawian women, Nigerian women, Kenyan women coming to me, one on one, asking me, "How can I? You look to be liberated. How did you do that?" And I'm always okay. Let's so we walk the journey through, but then I remembered, that you do speaker and mentorship, and I wanted to be a speaker. But every time I'm given a task to go and speak, I'm like, oh, am I doing the right thing here, or what is going on? And then I realized that I've got to contact you. So you gave me your number, started communicating with you. So several times I've been wanting to join, and then something would come up and then I would fail, just like that. But only when I took a deep breath, that's when I said, let me go and realize my purpose so that I can help not only those that know me, but
Mm-hmm.
even that don't know me. We
Yeah.
walk the journey together, because we are married, but a lot of times in the marriages, we go in after counsels from the family, from the church, from our friends. Sometimes here we have bridal showers. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
also have bridal showers, and then they have also an extra room where you go with some elderly women, and they will tell you issues there. Now, when you get into a marriage, you have now started the marriage relationship. That's when you say, is this adding up to this? Is this the purpose? Why I'm in here, and how does this work? And you know, but before I should go back. Before coming into the speak and mentorship program, this wasn't what I was thinking that I should
Talk
uh,
about.
talk about.
Mm-hmm.
It came up when I was in there.
Yeah, so we're gonna piggyback on that because I'm happy that you're giving some background because you mentioned a few things. First, congratulations on your 35 years of marriage. But also you spoke, a little bit about, your culture and women coming to you. So now you got, I believe you used to get maybe engagements, but you were fearful because I remember when you reached out to me initially, you were like, every time you had to speak, you got afraid. So now you come into the program having no idea what it is you're going to talk about, but just knowing, okay, I get the calls to speak and I need to prepare myself, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
what was it like for you coming into the program? What was the mindset for you? Because I know you said earlier on you had to breathe deeply, and I know it took a lot for you to get in. What was that like for you?
Okay, so it was like, should I go in or not? Then I said, let me try.
Hmm.
So I got in, and then here, whoa, there were women who looked in our program, they were professional speakers. I would say professional speakers.
And to blow your bubble, that's not even true because they were not. But you could
That's what
see,
I saw.
you could see them
That's
as
what I saw. And I was like, okay, so there's a lecturer, there's someone who's been on CNN. And then I said, Lord, what have I done? Okay, so oof, Yeah. So when I started, then I said, okay, let me just be listening to what people are saying. And then when my turn came, I was so scared. But thanks to Dr. Nadine, the way you would teach us. Oh my goodness. So slowly and surely I started to relax. And then on the program that you gave us on the Kajabi, there's a prayer counselor
Mm-hmm.
that is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask everyone who joins this mentorship course to really go deep into that prayer
Mm-hmm.
counseling. But even before that, there's a topic on about fear.
Mm-hmm.
We had to write letters to fear. And then, because these letters you're writing to fear, oh, that is what really liberated me. And then that's when I started thinking that, you know what? I came in here without thinking about anything. Uh, and there I wasn't thinking about anything, but it is because of the fear that I had. And
Mm-hmm.
this fear, fun enough, it's fear of unknown. Because if you can ask someone about, or you want to explain about it, there's nothing that you're going to say about it. But
Right.
it's just that fear that, distracts you or stops you from moving forward. It stops you from realizing your purpose in anything. It
Mm-hmm.
just blocks you. Now, if you listen to it without telling it off, without writing a letter to it, confronting it,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way you can move on. So
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter where you are. It can be at your place of work. It can be in your relationship. It can be, even your relationship with your children, or especially in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
That fear, I realized that it is quite obstructive. It is
Yeah. I'm happy you kind of brought up that fear factor because it was a big fear factor for you. And as you clearly mentioned, it was really fear that had nothing tangible to hold on to. It was fear of the unknown. And I have come
mm,
across that so many times. And just like you took so long to make the decision. And even when you make the decision, you began to doubt yourself, second guess yourself, come into the program, maybe even compare yourself to people who are on the same journey with you, feeling just like you, but just braving it out. And I've come
it's
across so many
true.
women who are so fearful of the unknown that they don't even take a step in any direction at all. And
Mhm.
when you do that, you're literally choosing to stay stagnant. But Harriet, you chose. You said, okay, I am fearful. I really don't know what the future holds, but I'm coming in. And you had no topic in mind. So now you're in the program. We're now beginning to explore your life because we want to know what is it you're called to speak about, because in the speaker program we focus on you not speaking about any topic. And as I used to say to you ladies, you do not want to be a speaker, you want to be a go-to expert who speaks on your topic.
Mm,
Big distinction. And so what is that one thing that God is calling you to speak about? And as we went through the weeks, one day it emerges that you're going to be serving women to liberate them in their marriages. But ironic, you just mentioned earlier that on your job, women within your continent were actually reaching out to you, saying to you, you look so liberated, and they wanted you to give them advice on how they could be liberated. So, talk to us about your experience and background that would lead you into wanting to liberate women to be themselves in their marriages.
Okay, so I have my favorite verse in the Bible is I know it's a favorite verse to a lot of people, but
Mhm.
this is real in my life. It's Psalms 139, verse 14. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
Mhm.
I'm tall, taller than normal for African, especially Malawian Malawians. So um, it's either I stand out
Mm-hmm.
negatively or positively.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a lot of instances, people would say comments and negative or positive. Then
Mm-hmm.
I realized that if I don't grasp this vase and apply it to myself, I'll be
Mm.
scared of a lot of things.
Wow.
Now, you want the background? I have to explain, I got married. I was told about a lot of things about marriage and so on and so forth. Now, just a week after I got married, that was in Malawi. Um, I had to move where my husband was,
Mm-hmm.
which was in Harare, Zimbabwe. And you are taught a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then there you going. I got married. My husband is a medical doctor. So I got married to him, and there he is doing his internship because this was his second degree. So he went into medicine after so he's been in university for a long time. So got married. We are going to Harare. This is a new place for me.
Yeah.
Now, what I have is the background that I have for marriage, that
Mm-hmm.
I've been told,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing that I know of my own.
Mm.
And the only verse that I have that can get me through is fearfully and wonderfully made. Now, you know, the interns, they work, they're the guys that, the doctors, they're the ones that sweep the floor. I call sweeping the floor. Um, So he would leave and not come after some time,
Mm-hmm.
and then come home. And there you are, and you don't know how to take the first step, second step.
Mm.
Lo and behold, I'm still thinking about what I've been, and it doesn't make sense with the community that I'm in. And then I went to church. The church, oh, it was beautiful. But also there, the women are telling me their own things about
Mm.
marriage. I'm getting confused. And we moved from Harare, we came to Joburg.
Wow.
Same situation. I'm in the church. And,
Mm.
you are, he's now specializing and same kind of workload. And I'm there. Yeah, you are torn between friends, what you listening from the church and what you've heard. And there it's either you don't know how to behave yourself, you don't know how to
Mm.
tackle things, and
Mm.
and so one of the things which really um I held on was about, now that you're married, your siblings don't really matter, or
Mm.
family don't really matter, because you're making your own thing, and then
Mm.
um, um, friends, you really don't have to. So it's like you are alone. You're not. You cannot reach out to other things just because you have to keep to yourself and behave in a certain way as a married woman. And that's what, so to me, people who are looking at me have to, you know um, to see that, have to tick that, am I, doing the right thing, and so on and so forth, which is what a lot of young married women, go through. I've seen it because of the women that have been helping on individual. They go through that. They also struggle, especially when you are in a diaspora environment, or even at home. I was actually talking to someone at home, and I noticed that it's the same. It is the same wherever.
Mm.
Women are not liberated, but it all starts because you don't realize that you are an individual, you wonderfully made, and you have a purpose that you need to play in that relationship. And you've got to be you, not what other people are saying, not what
Mhm.
the culture expects you to be, but
Mhm.
but you've got to be you. But then you cannot just be you on without God. That's one thing that I also
Mhm.
realized. You
Right.
cannot be you, you cannot be an effective, liberated wife if God is not in the picture.
Yes, amen. And you said a lot there, and I want to go back to something you said earlier on, just to commend. I know that, and I hear you loud and clear because some of the things that you share, I'm almost sure some of us growing up in the West will not be able to associate with it. But I believe probably it might be maybe more universal than maybe I would know. But in the sense that there's something I want to commend on, and that is in your culture that you'll have pulled aside as I see happening with the Hindu culture and stuff like that. And that was something I was jealous of when I would spend time in Kenya and I would go to weddings and I'd be there for weeks, maybe even months at a time, and just hearing, what's happening with the older ladies, meeting these young ladies and
Mm,
really like talking to them, about preparation for marriage. For
mm,
most of us, that doesn't really happen. I know people do counseling, but we do not generally have older women in church pulling you aside and talking to younger women, preparing them for marriage.
mm.
However, as you shared, that also created some confusion for you because in each of the cultures from Malawi to Zimbabwe to South Africa, you were hearing different stories. But in the end, your desire was really to be yourself in your marriage. Now
Yes.
that's so I commend you all on doing that, even though it might create confusion, at least there might be some reference points, in terms of behavior, etc. But then you still have to figure out what works for you. But at least you have something to work with from the start.
Mm.
Now you're talking about people now saying within your culture, you're married now, you cannot, because I remember your backstory, you cannot be as close as you were to your sisters or to your mom because you're a married woman now. And part of
Mm.
that, I think, probably allowed you to feel or made you feel as if you were having to suppress yourself because you were close to your siblings and mom. So now
That's it.
you're in the program. We got to this point of this is what I'm supposed to speak about. How did that make you feel knowing that this is an area that you could actually serve women in and make a difference?
When I realized that, what I had, he doesn't know. He doesn't know, and he's not, he doesn't care what I had. Or that's when I said, wait a minute, what is this all about? Which is a, um, which was, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I got it wrong because I don't think people are doing the same today.
What
But
is that
yes.
specifically you're talking about, and who's the he you're referring to?
Okay, my husband didn't know about these things that I was struggling with. That,
Okay,
I was told not to relate to my sisters or my mom the way I used to.
okay,
Um, so, and then eventually I realized that my husband doesn't know anything about it and he doesn't care. But
right.
I'm struggling because I have to please those that told me issues, that told
Mm,
me the way how to behave.
right.
When I realized that it was actually not necessary.
Mm,
Yeah, and then I cried out to the Lord. I said, you know what? Help me to be liberated, fearfully and wonderfully made.
amen.
You know, that was my stepping stone. And that's when I phoned, I spoke to everybody, and my mom actually asked, um, what has happened? You have been quiet. You didn't tell us. And that was when I was having my second born daughter. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't tell us that you were even pregnant. Then I said, I thought it was not necessary. I said, no, you shouldn't have been alone, having a child, because, things can go wrong. So what you have done, and, but that was the end of my um, my journey into and became rebelated. I became rebelated. And I remember one of the ladies in Zimbabwe who actually told me that, you know what, Harriet, when you're married, I don't know why we were like that, but it was our time. So when you're married, you're doing um, you're doing an honor to your family. So therefore, when they are telling you about this and that, you've got to listen to that, because it is a pride to your family um, when you are obedient to what the in-laws are telling you. And actually, a lot of things which I struggled with were the things that I got from my in-laws straight, because I had my in-laws also. 3 days after I got married, they took me, especially my sister-in-laws. They took me and sat down with me. Those were the things that I really struggled with, which never, until, yeah, but I'm glad that one of the in-laws that told me issues is late, but I'm glad that I was liberated before she passed. So
Awesome.
she saw me that I was
Awesome.
different from what she expected me to be.
Awesome.
I'm
So
glad.
how does it feel for you now that
Yeah.
you can be a voice to help younger women really go into a marriage being liberated to or feeling liberated to be themselves within the marriage? How does it feel to be chosen by God to do that? Because a lot of young ladies, I am absolutely sure, need your counsel, need you as you run workshops and seminars and do your speaking, just helping them to know that it's okay. And I love your theme text, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, but adding that now to your personal experience, how does it feel that you're now going to be that voice?
It makes me feel good, because it makes me happy to see that the ladies that I have helped, they're quite, happy, in a way that I remember one of my ladies was telling me that she could even miss out, outings, like, the ladies are meeting, like the mothers in school are meeting for coffee or tea somewhere, and she has to run and take care of things that she needs to take care of at home. She can't sit at the school meetings because she's busy, because that's what she's expected of. So when we started talking to each other, I told her that, you know what, you need that time and enjoy the relationship with fellow women,
Mhm.
um, as opposed to just strictly, being a woman, in being a wife. And but and then there's another one who couldn't get to be doing anything. She was just waiting from the hubby to help her. And then she would say, just imagine, I have to be asking for ladies things, the pads, the pads to wear, and things like that. And when I'm asking, sometimes he just doesn't understand. Then I said, you can um, start doing something for yourself. Start doing something and earn something, so that you can, get whatever you want, not always waiting for your husband. In that way, he will see that you are interested in doing something, and he can sponsor you for something small. And indeed, she's doing something today. And
Awesome.
she showed me last week, she sent me a picture of the clothes she made. So she's making clothes using the traditional material. And she showed me, look at this is what I made out of, um, and I've sewed so much. And
Awesome.
today I'm not asking for anything. I buy those things on my own. So it's part of what she's been taught. And when I asked her, who told you to be doing what you've been doing? And she told me it's a mother-in-law.
Awesome.
The
Okay, Harriet,
mother-in-law is
I
late.
can't even believe 30 minutes is already up.
Oh,
And this
wow.
seemed to be a discussion that would have to be something outside of our lunchtime series. I would wish for you to be hosting some live events talking about these issues. But before we close off, there are two things. Number one, you went through the program in just a few seconds. What was your biggest breakthrough moment or aha moment?
Whew. When I got into the program, that's when I realized that my biggest aha was the realizing that, I've been scared for nothing. Really? Really?
Oh, great.
Why?
That's a good
And
revelation.
then meeting, the fact that I met, super women there, you might not call them super, but they are powerful women on
They
that
are
group.
powerful indeed.
I am so motivated.
Mm.
These women drove me to do something, and that's why maybe you might have forgotten, but I did ask you that, what, these women really pushed me to go further, that I want to start writing a book.
Awesome. So, quick question for you: what would you say to a woman who needs to tell her story, who needs to share her message, and who's on the fence? What would you say to her? Like give her like just a quick nudge. Like, what would you say to that woman?
um, I would say, I'll give them your number, Dr. Nadine. I'll give them your number so that you can help them realize that they have a purpose to play in this world. They are not just made for what they are doing at the moment, but they can do more, um, for the glory of the Lord. I'll give them your number. I would definitely,
You
because
could definitely give them my email address, not necessarily my phone number, but I would appreciate
anything about you, I'll
it.
give them anything about you.
But I'm happy that you brought up the sisterhood because in the speaker mentorship program, because we do the group coaching sessions, women are able to share and support each other. But Harriet, I know that your topic is important and I need people to know how to reach you because what you're doing, the work that you're called to do, I know how necessary it is. I wish it was something that so many of us had before we walk down the aisle. How can you be reached?
Okay, they can reach me on my number,
Mhm.
which is on my Facebook page,
Okay.
and also email. You can reach me on my email, which is khonjeharriet@gmail.com.
Awesome.
khonjeharriet@gmail.com.
Yeah, we
It's
really want you to reach out to Harriet because I
mm,
know I was so excited the day when God downloaded that this is what you're supposed to focus on. Because when that revelation came, my excitement went way high. I don't know if you remember how excited I was, maybe even more than you when I realized it, because I'm like, oh my
yeah,
goodness.
because we women, a lot of women, they think they are trophies when they are in the marriage. They think they are trophies, but they've got a role to play in there,
Mm.
biggest role,
Awesome.
which is, and I always say that, once you take once you become in charge of your own life, you're able to enjoy the marriage relationship. You take charge of who you are first, then even your spouse will realize that, oh, there is something, and there is a woman that I need to also respect, because she respects me in this way. And people, like, where we're coming from, they think, oh, you have done something to him. No, it's not about doing anything to him. It's about you realizing first that, my purpose is this, and then, yeah, you go,
Awesome.
everything will come into place.
Wonderful. Harriet, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your journey, your story, which is going to liberate more Christian women to be able to be liberated in their marriages, to be themselves, liberated to be who God created you to be. And so, our ladies who are joining us, we have folks joining us all the way from the UK, from Pretoria. You have Vivian there joining you from Pretoria. She's giving you her support. We have Claudia in the UK. We have Jamila joining us from Portsmouth. And we want you to reach out to Harriet. Reach out to her, khonjeharriet@gmail.com. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, where we feature our final lady for this segment of the Lunchtime series for the month of May. God bless you, ladies, and see you tomorrow at lunchtime. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.